Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now on with the show. Welcome to the Nuff Said podcast. We're talking season 2, episode 11, Aftershock. I think I got the name right. After all that, I still might have gotten it wrong. It's Aftershocks. So sorry, you people that are so specific. I am one of your hosts. I am Radio Shack and Rob Southgate. With me is...
Nice. I am J Money Jack Wingrosky.
Yeah. And...
I am acceptable a little.
Barely. And...
Jazzy Jonathan.
Ooh, Jazzy.
I like it.
Have you ever used Jazzy?
I think I did, but that's okay because this is his first time.
Yeah, well, he's gonna be spinning the tracks for us. He's gonna do a little scratching because he's DJ Jazzy Jonathan. Okay,
there we go.
That fell apart too. All right.
And I meant to say accepting a little because it fits, but now of course I screwed that up.
So you're not acceptable.
My head fits his
you,
brain cramp, you know.
Right.
You are anti-acceptable a little.
There you go.
So before we jump in, I got a story for you guys. So one of our podcasters wrote to me today and said that he had an unsolicited approach about the show at work. Somebody walked up and was like, "Hey, I listened to Enough Said." And I wrote back and said, "Okay, so they hated it." And he said, "No, they loved it." Did you guys see this, or was this a private conversation?
No, I saw
actually,
this.
I
saw
this.
Did you see what the guy said?
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, to keep it G-rated, we'll just say that we seem to be fixated on Spider-Man somewhat.
And I am, so I have no problem with that.
I thought that was pretty funny. I'm like, you know what? We do tend to talk about Spider-Man, but you know what? I don't think we're going to this week. We got lots of other stuff to talk about because this was a booty of an episode, I think.
Really? But there is Spider-Man news that came out.
Okay. Well, you know what? Oh, there was.
We gotta placate our one fan.
You know what? Not just that. There was. Oh man, it's so tough on this show. There was so much Marvel news, and before we jump into it, believe me, I watched it over and over and over again. The one that I wanted to bring up before we even get into the show is, did you guys see that thing that came across on Facebook about Stan Lee teaching the college course in superheroes?
No.
I missed that.
You didn't see it?
I knew something about a college course about superheroes or comics, but I didn't know who was teaching it.
Why couldn't I major in that?
Because you're employed?
Yes. That is true.
Sadly, I enrolled.
Yeah. It only strengthens my point further.
Yeah, right. Yeah, actually, it's a here. I've got the information. It's you can pay $50 and actually get some kind of like not credit, but like something, or you can just take it free. And
you get a certificate.
Yeah, you get a certificate. Actually, I think you get like a personalized picture, hand-drawn thing by an artist, and Stan Lee signs it, and who knows. But it's on edX.org, and it starts in May. And I actually did sign up for the free course. I thought, you know what? It's interesting. I'll probably not do it, but I enrolled. What the heck? It doesn't cost me a dime.
Wait, is it online?
It's online.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a
I might do that.
It's a 5-week course, and Stan Lee's teaching it. It just kind of sounded interesting, and I thought, you know what? It's worth jumping in. Why not? I try to do any of these things. So
if you do this, do you get like a Stanley diploma or?
Oh yeah, and if you fail it, it says you failed. Enough said.
Yep.
You get
it from Empire State University.
They send
Excelsior,
you a no.
You've accomplished this.
They send you a no diploma.
Oh, Jack, that would be awesome.
How'd you like that?
That was fantastic. Did you guys see the Enough Said No prize? Have you seen that yet?
I've seen a copy. I have not
seen a copy.
received one.
It has already evolved because we actually had somebody win one, and I sent out a no prize to them. And then they said, hey, there's a big blank space in the middle. Are you going to do anything in there? Now, Marvel, when they did their no prizes, they didn't. What we sent is almost identical to what Marvel sent, but I decided we're going to change it. So I'm going to send our fan a different no prize. Okay, no surprise. The fan is Phil, who is one of our podcasters, but he retweeted a whole bunch of things. And that's why he actually won the no prize legitimately. Last week we talked about Marvels and how Ralph Garman's character could become this glue for the next wave after 2029. And he tweeted it to Ralph Garman, and Ralph Garman retweeted it and favorited it. So that was pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So he deserved a no prize. And then he said, is anything going to go in the middle? And I thought, you know what? I have something. So we're going to send him a new one. We're going to create a new no prize. But if you're the person who does the most retweeting, if you send a correction, which, come on, there's got to be plenty of those you could send in, we will send you a Nuff Said Universe no prize. So there you go. You can email it or tweet it or whatever you got to do, but we'll get it to you somehow. Okay, can we talk about this show?
Yeah, I say let's get started.
All right. So let's start with Jonathan. I'm going to start with you. What'd you think of this episode? Dead silence. You hated it. Well, we've lost Jonathan. Okay. Jack, what'd you think of this one?
Sorry. My
Fell asleep?
My microphone was muted because I have a cough.
Okay. Well, we'll let that one fly, but we will make fun of you. Go ahead, Jonathan. What'd you think of this episode?
Fair enough. Inhumans. Drop the mic. That was pretty cool. I mean, I don't know much about the Inhumans, but I'd heard of the movie Inhumans coming, so I think it's cool whenever they kind of dropping these little things to connect to future movies and such. So, pretty cool. Sky starting to move stuff with their mind, and so pretty cool.
Yeah. What about you, Jack? What'd you think?
I thought it was really cool. I seem to remember a whole bunch of conversations about how some people didn't think it was going to be the Inhumans.
Who said that? Not me.
I don't think
Alil did. Did you, Alil? Were you the one that was beating the drum? I don't think it's humans at all.
Yes, because my voice is that high pitched. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
right.
But I think we went through some different possibilities of the miracles, and that.
Well, I think
maybe it was Charlie, but
I think
somebody really kind of was
using.
Huh?
I think miracles is a term that they used in the movie, and I think it popped up again tonight. I think they're going to use that term, like banner it around. It's a way to get away from mutant. Inhuman. These are things we're going to hear. Miracles and Inhumans. Those are things we're going to hear a lot more.
Well, I think that's part of the conversation, that we were going to see more mutants, but this is definitely, mutants are different than Inhumans, and actually they didn't even say Inhumans. What Fitz said was, that would be Inhuman.
Yes,
was the actual reference, and everybody went, "What?"
Yeah,
and that was the big drop the ball, boom. And so yeah, I think this goes way past. This goes in a different direction than the mutants, and I think everybody that's following the MCU, I'm not deep into it. It was exciting, but for somebody that's down into the nitty gritty, I think it's mind blowing.
Yeah,
I think so. Alil, what do you think?
This episode for me was frustrating.
Okay.
And because I need to know what Mockingbird is up to. It is driving me nuts.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Because that's what I picked up on from the beginning. Like, I didn't trust her even when she joined over. And I'm like, there is just something. She keeps saying these things and having these weird little conversations. And then this whole thing now with the toy Lola, scanning the room. I'm just like, oh my God, who are you working for?
Yeah.
Number 2.
Okay, but Who are you working for?
Number 2. Give him the what for.
Give that turd hell, buddy. What was his name? Tom Arnold. Remember, he was the one yelling it. Give it hell, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, can we get a courtesy flush over here? Did anybody believe her when she said, "Oh yeah, well, we're in a support group," and then a couple scenes later, Matt goes, "Yeah, I've got some anger issues I'm working on." Well, there's the group, but I don't think that's it, because why would you have something on the group on the thumb drive?
Yeah, so there was stuff going on all over this episode with this. So first of all, we had that whole thing where they talked about the support group. There was no way that wasn't a smoke screen. Right. I mean, we know it was, but when you were watching it, you're like, that's the cheapest thing. If they write that storyline off that way, that's lame.
Hey, you never know. Bruce could be heading this thing up. Anger.
Well, you know what?
Anger issues.
You know what? I did think Hulk when Max started to get crazy. And I thought, okay, he's getting really set off. And then when he said the anger thing, I was like, there could be something to that. Because let's face it, what we're seeing here, we know is going to tie in. They've said there's tie-ins to Age of Ultron. There's definitely ties into Civil War. I think this episode was setting up Civil War stuff all over the place. Like the way Simmons was acting, there's no way that's not like, here are the seeds of doubt, and here's where this is all going to start happening that causes Civil War.
Right. Well, and to specify, what Simmons was saying was the whole anti-inhuman thing is like, right. This is an aberration of nature. This is my fault. I have to stop it. I have to eradicate it.
Out of the X-Men, which is why they're using this to kind of gloss over the X-Men, and the Inhumans are the new X-Men.
Right. And Sky's sitting there going, hello.
Yeah, I'm what's happening to me? Well, I loved how that happened with Raina too. Because Raina I thought that she was embracing it at the end of when they did the mid-season break. I thought, ooh, this is what she's been waiting for. Oh, no, she was none too happy about her new look.
Yeah, and, complaining about getting cut every time she touched herself. And
yeah.
I was reading a Marvel history about that, and that each of these characters, or their appearance, was supposed to be representing a different alien culture. So the Kree that had developed them could send them out to be spies into each. So for each one of these that we see, supposedly there was an ancient alien culture that looked just like that. So these aren't random aberrations.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So the way she looked, her DNA is going to match up to whatever that alien race is.
Right. So the thinking was, they had, the Celestials had invested in the Earth and done something, some DNA altering thing, but they saw something in the humans. And so you have this other alien presence that says, oh, well, wait a minute, we can create these weapons, and they use the... what wasn't Tesseract? It was
the Mist.
The Mist, yeah. And so the Mist is what gave the Inhumans their powers, but it was the Kree that gave them this ability to look like all the alien races.
Interesting. Now, Lil, you're deeper into this stuff. Do you know all that stuff? I mean, is that common knowledge, or is this the first time you're really hearing this?
No, I have heard of that, but I don't think it's common knowledge. Because again, I think the Inhumans is a book that not your average comic fan is going to pick up. Because there's so many titles that people would pick up in front of them. But I think I've picked up one of the newest issues. I haven't read it yet, but I wanted to read it before, because I wanted to learn more about the Inhumans because of the connection now to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I'm hoping we get some more connective issue with that.
I think we will. I think this opened the door. I mean, the stuff we saw tonight, we saw, with the guy bamfing around the room at the beginning, and then he takes flowers away at the end. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And he had the eye things. It was very X-Men-y. I think we're going to get a lot more of that going on around this story. I just hope the whole show doesn't become Creature of the Week chasing them down. I hope that they get into
that's what the show
stories, and that stuff is just in the wings all the time.
But that's what the show was last year, even. I mean, most of these shows
it was, but it wasn't moving quickly enough.
Right, and I agree with that. But I do think we're going to have several of these episodes where it is a Creature of the Week thing. I mean, not next week. I mean, next week it looks like it's kind of more into this, but we're going to have to. I mean, not Creature of the Week, but Inhuman of the Week.
Yeah,
but I mean, how many do they have to introduce that way? I think that they could do this for a little bit, and then we can kind of live with these Inhumans for a while and see what happens. But plus, let's face it, whatever happens in Age of Ultron is mass destruction. This is going to change this show in a big, bad way in a couple months.
Yeah, I think it's setting up the fractured nature of the group. I think after this, they're setting up a thing where everybody's taking sides, and it's going to go straight into the Civil War. The only thing is, can they pace it before that movie, comes out? Because is that going to be part of Ultron, or is that going to be?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm thinking we're going to have Aftershocks of Ultron, and leading up to Civil War. I think that's where the show is going to take off.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I don't think we're going to have. I think now, watching this episode last night, that's the first thing that popped in my head. We're going to probably have less of a tie-in until
I just hope we don't have them cleaning up like they did after the second Thor movie. I hope it's not just that, like, we're the cleanup crew. Let's talk.
Oh, we found this one thing.
Yeah, right.
I think it'll be less of that and more of things going into registration talk.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where Age of Ultron be. I mean, if it's like, I mean, I wonder how they're kind of timing it. I haven't really done the math there.
It'll be in time.
They got structure.
Yeah, everything is happening in a certain time frame at this point. Now that they have S.H.I.E.L.D., it's not like it was. It used to be like those first, what did we figure out? The first 4 movies took place over like 2 months or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, I think Thor and Hulk happened at the same time.
Right, but now they're spaced out in such a way, other than Guardians. The main ones, like if there's an Iron Man movie or Captain America or Avengers, they're happening in time with this show. So it's not like Avengers ends and what happens in Cap 2 or Cap 3 is immediate. It's whatever time frame takes place between the movies coming out and the blanks are filled in with S.H.I.E.L.D. Although S.H.I.E.L.D., once again, S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't real time either. That could be, like, we could see a whole season, and that could be really a month of time. Or, so
yeah, they're not giving any specific time period,
but
or
it's happening
within.
It's happening within time to the
within
S.H.I.E.L.D. show.
A dream within a dream.
Yeah, so when all the stuff goes down with Age of Ultron, when they come back the next week, this show should be greatly affected by what happened. But this show is going to tie in, like you're saying, a little more to Civil War, I have a feeling.
Yeah, I think because I think we're going to now get, because right now Fury's in hiding and all this stuff. Ultron is what's going to bring him back out to the fold.
Yep.
And I think that's how it's going to kind of tie back in with S.H.I.E.L.D.
So I got a question. Did Robert Downey Jr. make his announcement? You know how he did that thing about 8 days from
tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. What do you guys think this is going to be?
Today's Wednesday, so tomorrow. So I don't know when this will air.
So by the time this one goes up, we'll already know what it is.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's look like asses. What do you guys think it is?
Well, I'm very confused, though, because he did make another announcement like a couple days ago about a contest where people donate. Basically, it's like a donate to a raffle.
Yeah, that's not the big announcement.
Okay, and I wasn't sure again because I've been traveling, so I haven't had a.
No, he said it's in 8 days, and then that came out really fast, like 4 days later. He's not going to. This is a marketing ploy. They're not going to tip the hand that way. They're going to make it 8 days.
Yeah, but the last time he did something like this, wait and get excited, it was for the Judge.
Well, maybe that's what it is. Judge 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Maybe it's a return to Breakfast Club.
Oh, the return to Breakfast Club? Why would it be that? He's not in Breakfast Club.
I know, he reminds me of that guy, though. I could see him doing like a remake of the Breakfast Club. I don't know why.
The principal?
What are you talking about?
Judd Nelson? Who does he remind you of? Emilio?
No, the dark-haired guy.
Judd Nelson.
Judd Nelson.
But
I was thinking Judd Apatow. I was like, no, he's light-haired.
So maybe they all were. You're thinking that it'll be Robert Downey Jr. and who would they recast? Because they're not going to use the same ones. So
they're bringing Charlie Sheen to play Emilio Estevez.
Right. Because
I hate to be stereotyped, but I think they should bring.
Nicole Kidman will be
Johansson as the princess.
Oh, as Molly Ringworm? Yeah. I think. Yeah.
Did you say ringworm?
Yeah, she would work. And then
Jonathan knows nothing of what we're talking about.
Right. And then who could be the Ali Sheedy? Lindsay Lohan.
Oh, awesome!
There's her
comeback. No, please no.
Yeah.
Or if you want to have somebody you could work with, the girl from Saved by the Bell.
Which one is the one that was Timothy Amber Thiessen? That one.
Wow, I don't know what Saved by the Bell you were watching where
Tiffany.
It was Timothy Amber Thiessen, but wasn't my Saved by the Bell.
I don't know, man. We went down a rabbit hole and I'm lost all of a sudden.
We did. All right.
But I want to know. Yeah, I don't want to know. We'll find out tomorrow.
I want to find out why.
It's going to be. We didn't say what we think it's going to be. It's not going to be a Breakfast Club reunion. No. I'm thinking if it's Marvel related.
Well, I got a theory because there's a rumor that came out on Latino Review.
Okay, let me tell mine, and then you can tell what you've read.
How come Latino Review's got all the juice?
I got two, and both of them are things that we've said before on here. I think he's going to make an announcement about, I'm still harping on it, the missing movie. And I think it's going to be Iron Man 4, unlikely, or Spider-Man. So,
and I think it's going to be...
Not the Spider-Man standalone, but like Civil War Part 2 that is featuring Spider-Man, and that's going to be the big thing.
But I thought the first Civil War was featuring Spider-Man.
Yeah, but if they do a second one, they could get deeper into the story. It's not a Spider-Man movie, but they can flesh out the rest of that story. It's a big story to fit into one movie. And now you're adding Spider-Man to the mix. It's like I think you got room for a second movie, and I think they got a slate where they can do it. Okay, Alil, now you can tell me I'm wrong. It's the Judge 2.
Because the rumor is Latino Review is saying that in the standalone Spider-Man movie that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in it, and Iron Man will be in it, and there'll be a fight scene between the two of them.
Now, you think I thought that was something that was kind of going around like that is happening. You think that's the announcement?
Well, I don't know if it's going to be the announcement of the scene, but I think it's the announcement that he has signed on to be in Spectacular Spider-Man.
All right, good. I hope so. I'm down with that. Does that Spider-Man go into the slate then of the Marvel movies, or does it stay? So it does. So that whole list we have is definitely altered by Spider-Man somewhat.
Right, and that's why they move the movies, because they now want to give Spider-Man its space. Before, if it was a standalone, whatever Sinister Six movie, Marvel would have just said, forget it, we'll crush that movie, and we'll move on. Now they want to give it props because they're going to be working on it.
Right.
They need that character to build up and to build up this world, because now they can, on top of it, use their villains.
Interesting.
I'm curious. It's Inhumans it's coming out in 2019, but before it was gonna come out a couple years sooner.
It was gonna come out in between the two Infinity Wars movies.
Right. So
this. No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was just gonna say that, I think they set up this in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm not quite sure how they timed it, but maybe they thought the movie was gonna come sooner, and then suddenly it's much further down the line. It was already a couple years, ahead, but now it's like, 4 years.
And I think this is going to help Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because now the Inhumans movie is coming after Infinity War. Both, Infinity War 2. But they want these characters to be established in Infinity War. They wouldn't have put a movie in between these two movies if they didn't need these characters. Because Black Bolt can come in here and just scream at Thanos and knock him off, even if he's got the Infinity Gauntlet. Like, his voice is that powerful.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to need everyone in that second movie to take on Thanos. So I think this is really good for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I think now it gives them even more room to play with these characters and bring in some of these characters earlier on in the show to establish them. and utilize them with Shield.
Well, and the other thing is, like, as we're getting introduced to these Inhumans, these may not be the Inhumans that are featured in the film. These may be, because the Inhumans themselves, aren't they a little bit more ancient? Like can't they have these characters here? We're introduced to the concept of Inhumans. We start to see what's going on with them. But then the movie Inhumans are the ones living on the dark side of the moon. I mean, couldn't that be the case?
That could be. Or that's how they introduce them toward a latter episode of Shield on that to bring them into Infinity War.
Yeah,
because it's gonna be cosmic. I mean, you're gonna get everybody involved, and
so you don't think you'll see?
It might awaken.
So you don't think you'll see Sky?
No, I think you could see Sky.
I think you could.
I mean, you're gonna see Sky. You're gonna see Daredevil. You're gonna see Luke Cage. You're gonna see everybody.
I do too.
Even if it's just they're on set for one day in a massive fight scene, just so you can pick out their faces.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm wondering about. Are they going to elevate any of these TV characters to the movie level? Because, you're gonna get that conflict between, okay, do we want a superstar or do we want Flowers'
Jack,
character to stay consistent?
I don't think they're worried about that. DC does that game. So you see the Flash on TV. It's not the Flash that's in the movies. But Marvel isn't doing that game. This Daredevil, Charlie Cox is the Daredevil. If they put Daredevil in a movie, I'm telling you, it's going to be Charlie Cox.
Right. But these are, I don't know. I have a feeling that like the stars like that, like Sky would remain Sky, but some of the others, I'm not so sure. Or if you don't have them in the movie and you have other
they've
Inhumans,
been very consistent. They haven't messed around with that.
They're not going to swap characters. I mean, they even brought in people like look at Coulson. I mean, Coulson, before he got on the cinematic universe, he mainly did TV shows. He was in that show with Elaine. I can't remember the name of it now. He did movies as well, but most of these actors now do both.
Yeah. I
mean, look, Spader. I mean, you Blacklist. I mean, it's not gonna be a big change. And I think in some of these actors that they bring on outside of Downey, I mean, Chris Evans really didn't have like a big super movie star career prior to Captain America.
No, he was in a couple of Fantastic Four movies, which were not well received.
Well, he's been in more than just those. But
yeah, but that was really what we knew him from, and he was a likable guy. But he wasn't like a name like Robert Downey Jr., who the bloom was off of him when he was cast as Iron Man.
Exactly, and Chris Evans, and Tom Hiddleston. All these guys came out of nowhere.
Right.
So it's not, they could bring in these people from TV because again, these characters that they're playing, they're not like they're supporting roles. Any of these Shield agents are supporting roles.
Right.
But based on I've only seen Coulson and Thor, kind of transcend the TV movie thing. Who else are they going to use that, or are they going to? Are they going to bypass? I think it's easier to bypass it.
Well, they may avoid using some of them, but they have crossed them over. And Sif is back on S.H.I.E.L.D. next week. Colby Smulders has been here.
Yeah.
And we know that there are going to be characters from S.H.I.E.L.D. They're going to pop up in Age of Ultron. It's pretty well established that's going to happen. So yeah, and the Netflix stuff is definitely tied in. They've said this is all connected.
Well, I'm just kind of going back to the lack of.
And now with the Sony thing. With the Sony thing, they're saying it even more. Like, there's a lot of questions about these Sony characters now. What is part of this deal? Did you guys read that article about Spider-Woman?
Yeah, I did. I read a lot. There's so much that can happen here. What I am now, and again, we're talking about the Netflix series.
Right.
Vincent D'Onofrio, he's been on TV and has been in movies.
Oh,
and now he's the Kingpin. And he could be in the Spider-Man movies. He's a decent name. You've got a lot of players in this that they don't need to be. It seems like TV and cinema nowadays, unless you're DC, who just completely drew the line in between the two, you can completely mesh these things. I'm not saying that we're going to go see a Colby Smulder or a Sky movie. We're not going to see Quake the movie or whatever.
No, but they could show up in these movies for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I think you kind of misunderstand what I'm saying because anybody that you've kind of brought up is a fairly major character that you're going to associate a face with. But some of these, some of the minor Inhumans, I don't think are going to have
give me an
crossover
example.
movie power. Other than the fact that you'll see them maybe in a brief scene and go, oh, that was cool because that was such from the TV show. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
Do you think they're going to introduce like Medusa here, or are they going to wait until the movie? I think they're going to wait till the movie.
No, you know what?
I think those big Inhumans are going to happen there.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they did introduce him here.
Really?
Well, it would. In that way, you could actually you could have that as a tie-in to the movie because you have this minor cast of Inhumans and say, okay, we're going to feed you, like they fed us Thor after the movie and got a little taste of Loki and that kind of thing where you see them in other little things.
Sure,
so that's a viable theory.
Well, it's all speculation. Although I'm looking at this list, I'm looking at those dates, and it still seems to me there is the potential to fill that hole after Civil War.
Yeah,
there is still that hole sitting there. It's just sticking out there. It's Civil War, and then it goes into
the 2016 hole.
Yeah, and then it goes to Doctor Strange, and I'm like, there's something missing there. So that could be what Downey says. What about you, Jonathan? What do you think Downey's going to say?
To be honest, I haven't really. I guess it was a while back that I saw he made some kind of announcement. But I guess I kind of, that he was gonna make an announcement. But I guess I kind of just dropped off with that. But I think there's definitely a lot of possibilities. I think, it could just, it could really just be anything. I think Iron Man 4 is always a chance, but I think in something a little more different, something, hopefully a movie we haven't quite seen before, not just another sequel.
Yeah, less than 02. Hopefully that.
Yeah, happen. I think that's what it is. No, I really do think that Downey, and I even think Marvel is okay with saying that we're done with solo Iron Man films at this point, because I think the big thing is, and I think that's what got Downey to do Civil War.
Right.
Because they had him tied, and then he's like, "Oh wait,
he can be the big star
in this movie,"
and he just has to do part of it. He doesn't have to do the heavy lifting.
I think that's what they're going to get him to do.
Right.
I think that's why now with Sony money, because it's not Marvel money, Marvel's like, "Yeah, go use Downey, pay him $20 million because it's not our money."
Right.
And
he knows how to get the press.
Universe.
Yeah. He does.
Yeah.
He's a
how
PR
many other
machine.
people do you see that can say, "I'm going to make an announcement in 8 days" and drive everybody bat crazy?
We're sitting here talking about it for sure.
Exactly. Whether or not he's going to continue with the franchise, maybe, probably not, but he's going to generate business. Even that one announcement, which wasn't even about Iron Man, it like you say, turned to be about the Judge, but all of Marvel held their breath until it came out, and it was like, oh crap.
Yeah. I do think at this point it's going to be about Marvel because it's so close to Age of Ultron coming out.
Yeah.
That this is kind of where now he's going to be pushing it, because if this movie hits $2 billion, guess what? All of them are going to be freewheeling these deals like it's nobody's business.
Oh,
and
right.
now that they got another sandbox that can actually pay them money. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Sony's saying, "Oh,
they just made the big pockets bigger."
Exactly. Let me get Thor over in Spider-Man 2. It's going to be like, because Sony doesn't have the same mentality Marvel does. Sony will throw money after money after money.
Give me that Daredevil Spider-Man movie. Oh my gosh!
Wasn't part of this?
I was reading an article, and wouldn't it be awesome if they had that storyline with was it Jean DeWolf?
Yes.
Murdered and then having
that was so good.
Daredevil as Peter Parker's lawyer and stuff. It's like, you don't even need him as Daredevil yet. You could like tease it the whole time, and it's like, oh God,
isn't that the storyline where Matt Murdock called it out that he was Spider-Man? Do you remember that?
I think that's
where they're sitting there. They're like sitting there. He's talking to him as his lawyer or whatever, but it's like out of the office, and Murdock just calls him out, and Peter Parker's like, "What? What are you talking about?" He goes, "I've got this hearing thing." Like, I can tell. I can tell by the way you breathe. I can tell by your heartbeat. And I just remember reading that and being so floored by it.
Hey, there's always a chance. There's always a chance RDJ could be directing, because that's also in one of the articles.
Oh, true. That could be it.
There's talks of that too. Like he could pick up one of these lesser or newer Marvel movies and be kind of a director, but
let
Iron
him
Man
direct the Hawkeye one based on the Aja comics. Oh my gosh, his sensibility with Hawkeye would be incredible.
Kill him off in the first 15 minutes, then Iron Man takes his place.
So, all right, we fell into a hole. Let's go back to the show.
There's a show?
Yeah, apparently there's a crowd in the background too. I enjoy that. So let's see. What didn't we talk about? We didn't talk about Skye. I liked this whole thing with Skye. I think there was interesting conflict going on there. I like the character development. I like that it's not just, oh, you've got these powers. I mean, she seems to be really struggling with the whole thing, and outside of the room, they're struggling with it. Do you guys think that her power is also causing like elevated anger issues? Because the way Fitz reacted was way over the top. Mac went crazy. Do you think that could be part of this?
I thought that they're intimating that this is what was going to make her powers aggravated. But I really hadn't thought of that possibility.
I was thinking that same thing, that her powers were getting aggravated by the fighting, but it was when Fitz started to go nuts. I was like, he's going nuts because Mac went way over the top really fast.
Right.
If Mac is hiding something, he's not going to put himself out there that strongly.
You know, something I thought that maybe was that, you know, if there's some way these Inhumans are connected, that maybe she, you know, because what's her name was like actually starting to walk into the road. You know, trying to
kill herself. Flowers.
You know, so I wasn't really quite sure if, you know, she was starting to cry about that or something. You know, I wasn't, you know.
You know, I don't think connection?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that. I think we're coming in literally days after the events of. To us, it's 2 months later. So you know,
right.
but time hasn't gone by that far. This is so new to them. Mac. You can tell, like he's felt that he has lost complete control, and he even got crazy early on in the season when Coulson was when he was going crazy with the writings and stuff, and he was not comfortable with doing all that kind of stuff, and I think this put him over the edge, and I think it was the death of Trip that has really set this domino effect for this team because they were so close to him. And they played that scene where they're all talking about what Trip would be saying right now, what that.
Yeah.
I really think that kind of stuff. I don't think it's her powers. I think it's just that the team is completely kind of lost its stability right now. You know,
yeah, and I do think it's funny that Trip had more screen time tonight than he has the whole season or the whole series. Just his name was bannered around the whole time. I'm like, they never talked about this guy ever.
I think that they were going through this Trip thing. One. Didn't Hunter accuse her of kind of bringing this up in the middle to create some strife when they were in the SUV waiting outside the gate.
Okay.
And he said, you know, is that why you started the argument? Talking about her and Mac. Just like, oh no. They did reference that very particularly. And given the fact that Mac he has always been the first one, like Alil said, to bail on Coulson.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it you know they've been kind of intimating this for a while, and I think this is not only coming to a head, but those that both her and Mac are not only kind of spying, but I think they want to do something about Coulson. They don't agree with where he's taking things, and they believe in somebody else.
Okay. Let's talk about that for a second. What do you guys think is actually going on? I know we talked about it before, but I want to, now that we've seen this episode and we had a couple of, you know, I'm going to call them revelations, but a couple of moments here, I have a few thoughts on it, but I want to hear what you guys think. Jonathan, what do you think's going on there?
Could you be more specific?
Well, with the direction,
with Mockingbird and with Mac. What do you think is actually happening? Do you think that they are Hydra? Do you think that they are something else?
I mean, I think that would be like a double flip-flop because version, she was, looked like she was with Hydra, and then
Right,
oh
and
no,
then
she was undercover. I mean,
But
I think
characters
there's always
have done that in the MCU.
yeah. I don't know. I guess
A
I just don't.
lot.
Yeah, I mean, she could always just, she's a, I don't know what you would call that, triple agent. I don't know.
Well, and wasn't she a triple agent? Wasn't that one of the things about her character that did happen?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I recently saw the movie. I don't know if you guys have seen John Wick, but she played a female. She played an assassin. She was pretty ruthless in that, and so that's about all I'm familiar with her. But yeah, I think I'm not quite sure. It's definitely I'm not quite sure.
Maybe
and of
she's
course,
a scroll.
Mac just doesn't seem like the Hydra type. I think it's somebody else.
So, okay, Jack, what do you think?
Well, we talked about some other elements, but I don't know where, maybe Sword or where they're going with it. The only thing I could think of is maybe they're going to use those two to bring Fury somehow back in, kind of like May was spying for Fury. We thought she was a spy. We thought, she's again.
That could be it. They could just strictly be working for Fury. The fact that they were looking for Fury's thing, they brought up Fury's name, maybe that's it.
Yeah. And Mac is very much convinced. I think he's convinced that S.H.I.E.L.D. is righteous, but I think he's really convinced at this point that he cannot be led by Coulson, and I think that's what's driving this.
Well, and maybe when she said the thing about the support group, it was her, she was revealing something there. Maybe they are being original S.H.I.E.L.D. loyalists, and the approach that the old S.H.I.E.L.D. took, and they're going with Fury and that might tie in. Remember when we talked about Leviathan, and we went through the whole thing about Leviathan fighting S.H.I.E.L.D. and fighting Fury? Maybe this is a splinter group that Fury's putting together. It's not Sword, but it's like Fury's Commandos or something with these guys. Could it be something like that?
I don't know. I think they went so far back. We were pretty much. I was unaware that this whole thing with Skye was a setup from the beginning. This wasn't about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This was like an old Marvel story about Skye, aka Quake.
Right.
And I don't think it's going to be like a made up thing. I think there's somewhere in the Marvel history that they're going to go with this, and when it does, we're going to go, oh, yeah.
Like all those threads. But once again, it is there. If we go with that Leviathan versus Fury, that whole thing, it is there. Some of the players may change, but all those ideas are sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Alil, thoughts?
This one's tough because that's why this episode was frustrating for me, because I didn't know where these two characters who I do like are going. I don't think they're working for Fury, because why would they need to locate Fury's toolbox?
Because they have to get to it in Coulson's office, and they're not just going to be able to walk in there and open it.
But why do they need to get to it? I mean, if they're working for Fury, if Fury comes back, he knows Coulson will give him back the toolbox, so no questions asked. I don't think that's...
But
you know what?
I'd be against S.H.I.E.L.D., but maybe he needs to completely stay hidden. Coulson doesn't know he's alive, does he?
Yeah, that's because he gave him the toolbox.
Oh, yeah.
Something I'd say is that, I mean, there is a possibility, but for me, it's just that S.H.I.E.L.D. is so, it's just been shortened, it's just been, torn apart. So I think, united we stand, or, what's that saying? Or we'll fall.
Divided we fall.
So I think, there is a possibility. There is good points of, having someone else to kind of a different part. Maybe they have different information, but I don't know. I think it's just more likely that maybe they have some other agenda, but I don't know. I like the feeling that they're all kind of united. So.
Well, look at the next episode. I think more of it is going to be figuring out what Skye is doing.
Yeah.
And that's almost going to be more of the focus.
Well, you know what? I'm still thinking about this. You're right, Jack. What is... Sword is technology, right?
I thought Sword was space.
It's space. Gosh, I can't remember.
I thought they were like our version of Space S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, but they're at odds with S.H.I.E.L.D., aren't they?
I don't think they're at odds. I mean, I just don't think they always get along.
Okay, yeah, not at odds. Maybe that's incorrect. But see, that doesn't make sense then if it's Sword, because why would Mockingbird and Mac be part of that? There's got to be something, if we really think about it, there's got to be something. There's a couple of threads that we'd want to explore. One is Mac is really technological, which is why I was thinking Sword. Mockingbird is not, but does that matter? And why would they be after the toolbox? Number one, if it's Fury. Number two, if it's not. What is it? What's in the toolbox? What is it they're after?
Well, here's what pops up in the wiki. The Sentient World Observation and Response Department, Fictioner Counterterrorism and Intelligence Agency in the MCU, the purpose to deal with extraterrestrial threats to world security.
Oh, Men in Black!
Yeah.
Will Smith's going to be in this.
I'm waiting for the pug to come back.
He's getting jiggy with it.
I think you're going to get that component, much like Simmons, this is an aberration, and that the Inhumans are going to be associated with the alien threat. And here's another link, is that the group was introduced in Astonishing X-Men by Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's the one that created it. That's why I'm like, there's no way it's not going to show up in here, because that was his creation, and it's a really cool thing.
Right, and since it's his baby, I think it's a ripe time.
Well, maybe that's it, Jack. Maybe you are onto it. Maybe.
And then it says, since the departure of Nick Fury as director of S.H.I.E.L.D., relations between the two organizations become strained. The head of S.W.O.R.D. is Special Agent Abigail Brand. Primary Command and Control Headquarters is Orbital Space Station. So
but see, that's what I'm thinking. Since they are building their space thing out with Guardians, and there's other stuff on the horizon,
and they need something in that toolbox.
Doing. Yeah, I wonder.
They need
if
something in there, technology-wise, to make this happen. And being that it's Whedon's baby, I just think, boom, it's that perfect opportunity. Because what other group that's still sort of friendly within S.H.I.E.L.D. could it be?
Yeah,
Sort of.
Good one. Yeah, I mean, that could be something. What happened? This has been a pretty serious episode. We're really talking this one out. That's not like us.
I know. Maybe we took our vitamins or something.
Yeah, probably not.
Our Spidey vitamins.
Oh, yeah. They're gummy. I'm sure you've got a picture of them on League of Geeks, and they have some kind of weird, thing on them.
We do.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's always some weird Spider-Man with a Spidey friend or something.
I think it's the next on Chopped. It's one of the next basket ingredients. Spidey gummy bears.
Gross. Oh, gross. So, okay, what haven't we talked about?
We didn't talk about Coulson taking down the head.
Oh, the whole thing!
I've been waiting to bring this up. This was the most awesome plan I've ever seen, because I did not know this is where they were going.
And that was a total Coulson move. He's done this kind of thing before. These big chess move plays. This was awesome.
I did not expect all the heads of Hydra to go down.
I thought
one fell swoop.
I thought when they had that scene at the beginning and they were all around the table, I thought, oh, they're setting us up that this is going to be like X-Files with the well-manicured man and the smoking man, like these guys behind the scenes that are a problem. We saw our first glimpse of that. That's what I thought we were getting, is here's the conspiracy group. Yeah, no, they killed them. They took them out. But you know what? There was a very telling moment in there. That was not all of them.
No.
Did you catch?
That wasn't Strucker.
What? No, beyond that, what the one, I think it was the one female in there said was about the guy who was captured. They said from this division of Hydra, I think, or this region of Hydra. I don't think that was all the Hydra heads. I think that was one head with multiple heads. I think it goes way deeper than that. And there are people higher than them in the organization. We saw one head cut off, even though we thought we've already seen a head cut off. We only saw, a toenail cut off.
Well, I think you got pretty high towards the top, because obviously whoever was supposed to
but there isn't
win this
top,
game
Jack.
they were supposed to replace Whitehall. But I think, like you said, there's so many other divisions that even if there's not another head, there's so many.
Well, they're equal
There's
heads.
divisions.
If you've got 10 heads, they're all equal heads. Each one is a division. This was a division we saw. So yeah, you got as high as you can. You may have struck very high, but there's 8 other just as high.
Right. Well, and also even if you did get all the heads, there's still all the dang necks that as soon as the heads go away because nobody in
Right.
Hydra is considered irreplaceable.
Right.
So, like, even the other direction, let's say they did get everybody, there's still the whole infrastructure.
Yeah.
One replaces the other. So it slows it down. It creates some momentary chaos. But like you said, in the end, there's going to be a new head.
So is that what you were thinking? Oh, I'm sorry, Jonathan.
Well, I was going to say, in Winter Soldier, wasn't Alexander Pierce, wasn't he talking to a group of people that were like sort of in hologram form?
Yes.
I mean,
yeah,
are
but
these
those
like
are all the people? Those were all the people that he tried to take out. That he took out at the end. They weren't part of. They weren't part of Hydra. They were Shield people.
They were high up in Shield.
Okay.
Yeah. They were like your group of elders for Shield.
Okay.
And he took care of them.
Hey, did a hunter take out one of them, like an unarmed Hydra member?
Yeah, at the very end, after the guy that they were.
I mean, some of them were armed, but not all of them.
Right, he took out the main guy. He shot him right in the forehead.
Yeah, he shot him in the head.
So, yeah.
Yeah, right after once he set the protocol, Hunter said, sorry, but we're not taking you in. This is Coulson's orders. Boom.
Yeah.
Coulson was definitely the one that made that play.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And that's another thing too, is if Mac and Mockingbird were any part of Hydra, they could have stopped that planet anywhere along the way and said, "Oh, this guy got away. It was kind of an issue, but oh well." And they're definitely behind it.
Yeah,
I think,
really cool. So, okay, other stuff in this episode?
I think we got it all with that.
All right. Other news? There was Spidey news, you said? What did you want to bring up?
Well, no, they just, I guess, kind of announced what the next title is going to be, how the first Spider-Man trilogy was Spider-Man.
It's a spectacular.
This is, and now it's going to be Spectacular, written and directed by Drew Goddard.
Yeah, I'm all in on that.
Yeah, who's a Whedonite who did Cabin in the Woods. He was
amazing.
He did the initial Daredevil episode. He was going to be the showrunner, but left to do the Spider-Man stuff. And now there's a tie-in with that and Daredevil.
Yeah,
it's just it opens up so much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does.
I tell you, I almost canceled Netflix, and because of all this stuff, I couldn't do it. It's just like I won't be able to see all this stuff anywhere else.
Right.
So they have definitely saved their. As far as me, they've definitely saved their subscription.
You just wanted the Pee Wee Herman movie. That's what you were after.
Oh, dude, I'd probably own it.
No, the new one.
The new
He's
one.
Doing a special Netflix one.
Oh.
Pee Wee's Big Holiday or something, which I'm all in on.
Oh, yeah.
Of course
Big
you are.
fan.
Yeah. Who isn't?
I'm not.
Oh.
I like Big Adventure, but man, that's about it.
Well, Big Adventure is amazing. That's the best one. Although you do have to appreciate Big Top Pee Wee.
Big Top was all right, but the TV show, man, that's crazy.
Didn't connect for you?
I was watching it with my kids, and I'm like, holy cow, this thing is I don't know, I can't even explain it. Although I was crazy, I was mind blown when Lawrence Fishburne popped out.
Yeah.
As the cowboy. I'm like, what is going on here? Yeah, I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, I
never really watched it as a kid. I kind of I've seen a few episodes, but it's not like something that I sat down and watched as a kid.
Well, for Jack and I, it wasn't on when we were kids. So all of
you were already in your 50s, yeah.
Yeah, we got all the weird. We were getting all the weird references and jokes.
Yeah, right. Oh, there's Lawrence Fishburne. I saw him in Deep Cover.
Well, on that note,
yeah. Hey, Pee Wee, you want the red pill or the blue pill? Okay, so terrible impression. Not even an impression. I wouldn't even call it that.
Yeah,
the return of Barry.
Yeah, very little. What else? Oh, last thing that I can think of. I mean, there was a lot of stuff this week, but the last one that I want to bring up is the 23 hours, 26 hours of Marvel movies.
Too much.
That they announced. So they're going to show, just like we did last summer where we went through and we watched all the movies, they are doing the same thing leading up to Avengers 2.
Very cool.
And, I think it would be daring. I think that, I'm working myself up to doing it. And, Alil, I think you need to do the same thing.
I'm telling you, man, that's just too much.
I think you need to do the same thing, Alil.
I could do it from my house because I have them all on Blu-ray, where I don't have to worry about what's going on with my kids, and I can actually take a nap.
Okay.
Not fall asleep in the theater, and who knows what'll happen to me.
I know
I'm sitting next to you.
Yeah, right.
Did we lose Jonathan?
No, I'm right here.
Oh,
right.
okay. There he is.
So,
I'm going to work on Alil. I'm going to shame him into it. Either that, or I'm sure Steve will be happy to fly out.
There you go. You can take Steve. I don't think you're going to be able to shame me in this one. You've shamed me in so much already.
Yeah. You never know. So, all right. So that's something coming up. And if anyone lives in the Chicagoland area and they want to go, they think they can muster it up, tweet me, because this might just happen. It might just. I want that Avengers pin. They give you some kind of special Avengers pin.
Yeah, you got a pin and a poster.
Ah, see?
I know. Believe me, I had to buy the Midnight Avengers poster from the first one secondhand on eBay.
See, lame. Yeah, I don't know, man. This is tempting. Got to think about it. So, all right, let's end this thing. You can follow the show at Nuff Said Podcast on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook. We have a forum. If you go to the website, you can find the forum through that. And our website is www.southgatemediagroup.com. That's the entry point. It has all of our podcasts on there. Click on Nuff Said. It'll take you right to the Nuff Said homepage, and then we have a past episodes page. We also feature the all new Marvel review on there, where Phil and Charlie break down the Marvel books from the week. And we also have Super Connectivity, which Charlie and Phil have kind of taken hold of, and it's based on Charlie's blog, but now it seems that the blog, when it comes back, will be based on the podcast. And we have a new blog, True Believers blog, which Phil wrote the first one. I just posted the second one, and Alil, you're up next, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm shaming you into it.
Yeah, I'll do my best to find some time for this.
You can do it. You know what? I know of a 24-hour period where you'll have plenty of time to sit there. Just have a little light on, and you can write in the theater. And then we'll figure out who's doing after that. Anything you guys want to promote? Give your stuff. Alil, let's start with you.
Yeah, you can tweet at me or post on our Facebook page at the League of Geeks, and the Twitter is at LOGEEKZ. And that's League of Geeks with a Z. We also have a website, theleagueofgeeks.com, where we post more stuff about Spider-Man, because everything's about Spider-Man.
Yeah, right.
And all I talk about is Spider-Man. No,
right.
I'm joking, but it's everything. And
Spider-Ham.
And Spider-Ham, of course. Love Spider-Ham. Salty.
Salty, yum. And Jonathan?
At JBell49er, and then my other two podcasts, at Radio Ramen and at Radio Free Indoor.
And you also do the Star Wars Rebels cast, which is on the Radio Free Endor feed. So if you're a Star Wars fan, you can get all that Star Warsy goodness at Radio Endor. But if you just love Star Wars Endor or Star Wars Rebels, go to the Star Wars Rebels cast, and you'll catch Jonathan's show there.
Right.
Jack? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the final, the season finale episode is pretty awesome. We got a couple great guests. So
fantastic. Can't wait to hear it.
And here's a hint. They both have the same first name.
Oh, Alil Garber and Alil Chanuka. Yeah.
Yeah. I think your best episode was the one that came out, a week or two ago.
Yeah, and then the next one was with Alil. But yeah, that one a couple of weeks ago was great. And then,
I thought you were going to go with like Charlie Sheen and Charlie Manson or something.
No more shaming if you go to the Marvel-thon. Okay, Jack?
At Jay Wendrowski, and I'm at the new Bosch podcast and the Blacklist podcast with Melissa Maxey, and I do the Trumpet Talk podcast, and there is a podcast, and let's try that again.
It's a whole package.
Is the
podcast
blog,
and blog.
Yes, and the soon-to-be podcast. Once we get the tune, should be recorded tomorrow, and we'll get that on air within a couple of days after that.
Yep, awesome. That's it. Let's wrap it up. Thanks, everybody. Oh, one last tiny thing. If you happen to be in Indianapolis for the Indianapolis Comic-Con, which is taking place not this week, next weekend. What is that, the 14th or something of March?
Yes, the 14th and the 15th.
We are doing 3 panels there. One of them is on the Saturday night. It's called the Geektastic Cage Match. It is a blast. There's going to be a bunch of our podcasters from Southgate Media Group there, including Alil and myself. And then Sunday, we are doing one on podcasting and journalism, and we're doing Geek My Kids. So it is going to be a lot of fun. So if you're out there, please come and see us. Come say hello. The weirdest thing is when people sit in the audience and tweet pictures of us and then don't introduce themselves. Please, come introduce yourselves. We'd love to meet you, and Alil will be happy to give you $5. And there you go.
Anybody who comes up, I will give them a League of Geeks bracelet and button. How about that?
Oh, yeah. Nice, Alil. What a guy.
Not $5. I'm broke.
And you can shame him live in person and try and get him to go to that Marvel thing. That's it, everybody. Let's wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, guys. Jonathan, thanks for joining us. We're done.
No problem.
Enough said.
Enough said.
Said.